Hey everyone, welcome to the Learning to Birth webinar portal where we interview some of the world's most interesting thought leaders on birth and pregnancy worldwide. We have with us an incredible legend who I personally am so grateful for, and that's Heather Bruce from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome, Heather.
Hello, sorry, you got me in the middle of, look, if nobody's got their water, could you duck out and get water, please? Because nobody's drinking enough, particularly if they're breastfeeding or pregnant.
That's true, isn't it? And we're going to get in onto that. Now, everyone, look, I've known Heather for 12 years. She was probably the first professional I saw after giving birth. And I went into your place, Heather. I was like, I can't walk. And you were like, you sorted me so out right from the start. So we'll get into all of that stuff. But everyone, Heather is a natural health problem solver. She specializes in all the things that seem to be too hard. And after 40 years, she likes to go where others just can't or won't. And Heather has developed the work found in her manual, What Dads Can Do. Want to show us? A toolbox guide for dads on pregnancy and preparing for birth and afterwards. Heather's been an acupuncturist, body worker, naturopath, herbalist, now a Maya, Vigo and Mercia therapist for over 4 decades. Amalgamating what she's learned in her professional practice into what she now calls the gentling way. Now, Heather's founder of Opening the Baby Gate, a way that anyone can use to change the course of their lives, whether pregnant, trying to be, recovering after, or just wanting an easier time of bleeding and sexuality. Both sexes letting flow. Oh my God. So I met you 12 years ago after having my baby, and I went to you, and I don't think I'd let anybody else in the world stick pins into me, Heather. And I don't think I would have before or after, but I let you. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your amazing journey?
Yeah, fine. Now look, I knew nothing about acupuncture either. And there I was, I got accidentally pregnant, and my husband at the time had really bad asthma. And so he was going to a local acupuncturist, and it was a hell of a lot better. And I thought, well, that's important. I didn't know anything about this. And so I carried on with my life, except that he kept on coming up with, maybe you should be doing this, because I think he was thinking of the money that we would save. And it just so happened that there we were, there was a flyer. Now we were living in, of all places, northern New South Wales, with really no income, no nothing. Back in the hippie days, and I got myself by hitchhiking up and down from Maynard Mullumbimby to Brisbane with baby strapped on front, who is now nearly 43. Now this is not when people wore babies, and all the nappies, and because we didn't have any money to throw them away, not that you could, and all the textbooks, and there's me going up and down the bloody road. And after 6 months of that, we sold the car, because we did have one, but he needed it at home. And we came up to Brisbane, and sort of the rest is history, because I became the first woman as an acupuncturist working in the middle of Brisbane. In 1979 I started, but I did naturopathy at the same time and Western herbs, because it was not about my baby. It was about, I didn't want him to ever get sick like his dad. And I could see that really stuffed his dad up. I didn't know there was even such a thing as asthma. So I thought, oh, so I went off, and I was going to be a doctor when I left school. So I've actually gone into life medicine as opposed to pharma medicine. And when I was learning acupuncture, there was nothing written about pregnancy, and it was a very low rent sort of thing. You know, there was no such thing as IVF. There was no such thing as you've got to have an obstetrician. You know, it was women's business, and throw that away, because the money and the status was all in pain. I got to say, we've gone around in a big circle, because we don't need to talk about that at the moment. But the point is, I got incredibly good at sorting out people's really bad, you know, like rheumatoid arthritis and whatnot, because there was nothing else. And there was arthroscopies, and just about everything you take for granted wasn't. So for me, it was a learning experience of, when nothing else works, you've still got this person fronting up in your clinic. What do you do with them? So I kept on learning different things, and I was the only person doing pregnancy. I was the only person going to births. Before there were doulas, there was Heather Bruce. And you had no option about get yourself slit open. You had to have a baby, you see. Yes. And there was no hypnobirthing. It was just me or nothing, really. Yeah. And because I had had the birth what I thought from hell, which came to pass as the easiest birth of my 4 I had, but there was nobody there for me. And so I thought, well, anybody I'm helping, I don't want them to be in that situation. So it just all sort of grew from there. So now we've got, just as a sideline, opening the baby gate, go and get the resources. I've got all these printed out things that you can see. Look, you don't have to have English when you get, you know, and how to look after yourself. And so I've spent rather a lot of money getting this thing called graphics organized. So then if you've got hyperemesis, I've got the answers. It's so easy. You stop breaking yourself. So, you know, like,
talk to us. Do you want to talk to us about your opening the baby gate model, like what that is and how you do it with mums?
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that. So here I've got obviously pictures and diagrams. So eventually I got pissed off with having to go to births because I had all my kids. One was massively brain injured, blah, blah, blah. And it was just tricky. You know, like if I said I was going to come, I would, and it didn't matter. One person, it was 24 hours. I went straight from her hospital straight back to doing 20 patients in the day. Now, I got to say she had the birth she wanted, but that was because of moi. Now, on day 4, she was on a plane down to Canberra doing what she wanted to do with newborn baby, which she could have done if she'd had the C-section she was up for. So I learned very quickly to use these and this and this and bark flower remedies and whatever else, not so much needles. And people got what they needed because I was thinking outside the box. And I thought, well, bugger this, quite frankly. Dads need to be doing a bit more because that's how that came upon, because dads were sitting over there in the corner not knowing what to do. And then I was seeing what was happening. They left because 3 of my husbands left before babies. So, I mean, hey, I'm not going to point sticks at anybody, but I could see the process. And the process was nobody was there coaching dad so he could actually help mum. So in all of this work, and you can see it when you go into the web page, there's a dad there. And when he's asked by me, but what did you do? His whole face lit up. Exactly. They will be together as grandparents. And you know, that dad, she said to me, oh, he's about the world's worst massage therapist. He just can't touch. I said, well, anyway, he's amazing now. And what I also did was at the same time, and this is going back 15 years, I put together that DVD, which is now an online thing that you get with the whole package, which is massage for klutzes, basically. He doesn't know anything, you know, anything. So the whole lot is explained, and I haven't got a moxa stick here with me at the moment, but there's the good old moxa stick, and that's an important part of it. And the thing about this is, that was then, 2005. And people, you know, it is a glove box manual. You are not expected to go and read it cover to cover. I've just opened it up and I've found expectations, beliefs, unplanned outcomes. Okay, sometimes there's words because sometimes things go astray.
Yeah.
And then I've got perineal massage and I've got, what does that say? How to hasten labour. Okay, so I've done it all. So people, if they've got a problem, it's a problem solving manual. They open it up like the glove box thing in the car. It's like, oh shit, the wheel just fell off. That sort of thing. Yeah. What do I do about that? Yeah, I'm not interested in how the whole car works. Don't give a damn. Want to know what do I do about finding the spare wheel? Okay, that's what that book is done for men.
Incredible, incredible. I didn't have that book at my birth, and afterwards
either.
No. I came to you, and I remember, like, you sorted me out so quick. You know, you really set me on the path to, I mean, doing what we're doing here today, right now. I wouldn't have started my healing journey without you. I came and saw you, and you were like, you need zinc, you need magnesium, you need protein, and moxa. and
now I'd say iodine and vitamin D, okay, and fat. Now the thing here is, if you could just write it down, easybreasts.com.au.
Yeah.
Because that is the site. If you go and look at ingredients, and look, everything's not quite finished because I've got way too many things I'm trying to do at once. But I was answering the question, what the hell do you do when you have got demur, for example? Who knew? I didn't know what it was till somebody came in.
What was that when you have?
Demur. D, big D, hyphen M-E-R. Now that used to be called sadness and breastfeeding, but it's actually you're revolted. Every time the milk lets down, you just can't stand it. Now that's actually, funnily enough, lack of zinc and vitamin B and magnesium, what I told you to get. See, I never had anybody with that, because if they came into me to get pregnant, well, by the time they were well pregnant, I had everything straightened out. Because here's where you should be, and you've deviated off here with whatever they're saying is normal in pregnancy. And I'm going to go, bullshit, excuse me. It needs to go back to where normal is.
Yeah.
And normal is not what everybody's got. And they're going online to find answers and seeing this and that person. I'm going, why don't you go and ask your great grandmother? She'd sort you out.
Yeah.
So demur is just something that you hope you don't have, but you can fix it by building up. And just while I'm on breastfeeding, until I had Yvonne, the amazing home birth midwife who's a lactation consultant, who at the moment is at St George Hospital in the middle of Whoop Whoop, I was filming her, okay, many years ago, because I thought, look, we've got to get this easy breast thing full of information for young women, because I know, having had 4 kids, every single midwife had a different story. It just wasn't damn good enough, you know. And the first one, I just figured the kid knew what he was doing and I led him to it, because I had the continuum concept book. And so all I did, yeah, well, you know, like 43 years ago, there wasn't a lot. There was that, and it was before a dear old Anne-Marie Gaskin. And so there was Childbirth Without Violence with Frederick Laboyer. So that was my Bible, as was the continuum concept. And that was the only, as a 21-year-old out in the middle of the sticks, that's what I had. Yeah. It served me well. I already knew that I had no idea what to do with a baby, and my body had accidentally got damn pregnant. It could fix it itself.
That's, you know, a really great perspective to have.
Well, it knew what it was doing. When they told me I was 44 weeks pregnant, I got a little bit uppity because I wasn't. Yeah. I'd gotten pregnant on day 25. I had ovulated when I should, and I damn well did it again. Now, that was the only time that month we'd had sex. And so I couldn't be any more pregnant than that. I could be less pregnant, but I wasn't any more pregnant. And so there they go, keeping on writing these numbers, and I'm getting more and more full of baby. And of course he came on day 12 after his, you know. Yeah, well, it would have been a lot easier had they not had me and supported squatting, if they had got me off the bed. And so there we go, I've got stories. And so for me, what came to pass was I don't want other women to find that they've got that. So that led to me doing what dads can do, because I was bringing in women's husbands at the end. And I know it's a wrong word, but look, mostly it's men coming in. Look, if it's 2 women together, she's probably got her act together. It's the men I'm looking at here. And so, and if it's the mum and the teenage daughter, mum's got it together. Okay, opening the baby gate is about dad. Dad has got to be on the same page, which is it's her body having their baby. Mm-hmm. If you don't look after this part of mum, and that's his job, which is why my cover looks like that, like a mother hen. He's got his arms around her. He is protecting her from those idiots who are telling her all sorts of dumb things. So I've got to get him on the page first. And once I've got him on the page, then there's no problem, because he thinks, aren't I clever? And yes, he is, because he's listened, okay? So that's how come Open the Baby Gate came to being, except, and it's another big except, and there's always a story. I haven't finished with the other one, which is, I heard Yvonne saying that the babies are drinking our blood. What? I don't know if you knew, but breast milk is blood. So you got frozen for a while.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. It's happened to me today. I froze on someone else as well. So it's still recording and we can still hear you, Heather. So don't worry about me.
So at the point that I said the baby is drinking your blood, you froze. And I thought, well, that's a good spot to froze at.
If it happens to me again, I don't know. I think it's my computer today. Just keep talking, because it's still recording. So everyone, sorry about that, but I'm still here.
I'm just turning my phone off. So if somebody rings me, you don't have me going on. I thought, well, while we're doing technical, we might as well do that technical too. So the thing about building up, you know, and I breastfed for 6.25 years. If I had known it was my blood they were drinking, geez, I'd have done a better job. Because I lost so much blood in three of my births that you've got to make that up, as well as stay sane, as well as heal, as well as make more blood for the baby to drink. Yeah. So when they go on about, you know, has your milk come in? No, it's not actually milk. It's actually blood.
Wow. That's incredible.
I know, and you didn't know, and I didn't either. And I've been training people around the world, because I do train acupuncturists, on the subject, and I thought, oh my God, what else don't I know? I've found quite a lot of things I didn't know, but I was saying you've got to build up the blood energy. Now, it's our blood energy that keeps our hair on our head. We should not be losing it after we've had a baby. It also keeps us sane. We should not be going mad. It also allows us to sleep. We should be able to go off just like that. We should make as much breast milk as we want and great quality. We should have had that baby staying in there because our pelvis was doing a really good job because it had enough flows happening, and this is not happening. And why not? Because it's all devolved into the damn medical profession. This is life. And this is me having had to have these 4 kids over 18 years in all different states of undress I've had to be while doing it, to know what goes on. I haven't had everything go on, but I've had a lot of things go on. And that's why I knew exactly what to do for you when you wandered in, because that's my job. You know, like somebody comes in really distressed. It's like, yep, I'll give you a hug. I probably gave you a hug. Now what we need to do is to sit down here and go through logically what's going to need to be rescued. And the first thing is going to be nutrients. Mm-hmm. And the next thing is going to be the circulation's not okay. So there was what you said. And then there's the moxa and the massage, you know, and that's what dads can do. And if he thinks it's a load of rubbish, he's the one that's going to get sidelined and kicked out and be going through the family law court. He doesn't want that.
Now, what's moxa? How do we use that? That was a big part of this.
What you were doing, yeah. Well, look, I think what we need to do, and I haven't actually got. Normally here, I've got a bit of paper and a pen. Just a minute, and I'm going to give you links.
Okay. Well, yep.
Sorry about my bum, everybody, but I'm actually in the filming room, so I've actually got stuff on hand. So I'm going to send you Easy Breasts, and I'm also going to send you a link to Sacral Moxa Fan, because you remember that feeling absolutely amazing, don't you?
Yeah, it's so hot. It's very hot and just.
Well, maybe he was too close to you. So if you imagine this is the Moxa stick, and this is your buttocks.
Yeah.
And this is your wrist. You see, look, I just know this stuff backwards. I didn't know I was going to do this with you. Here's the lit Moxa stick. It does not touch the skin. And so you've got your hand about, excuse me, about that far away. And so it's going up like this.
So it's like this big cigar, and you kind of like light it like an incense stick, and then you blow it out. What is moxa? Is that a plant?
It's Artemisia, and there's about 300 different varieties of, and one of them you make for, I think, vermouth with, and another one you make absinthe. So it gets itself around this stuff called mugwort.
Yes.
Artemisia.
Yeah. Wow. There you go.
So I've actually got an ebook on that. I mean, really, the kit that I've got on opening the baby gate is because the majority of other acupuncturists don't know what they're doing, and hush my mouth, but they don't, because they're taught what basically the rubbish that I was taught, the medicalized, you know, this is what the midwife's going to do. Well, that's not good enough. What did people around the world do a long time ago without men and their bits of metal and their calendars and their clocks? They have not bled, they have not birthed, they have not bred, they do not know what is going on, they have not breastfed, and here they go, breaking women and their babies and the bonding, and then it's my job to try and fix it. I'd rather get dad on the job because he's the one that's got the most to lose, as have the baby. And that's why I want dad on the job. And people go, oh, is it dangerous? What's dangerous is you thinking it's dangerous that he can't help.
Yeah. Now the baby gate, like is that like the pelvis that you're talking about? Like that's what's
Here we go again. Here we go again. Can you talk about something for a minute? I'm going to go and get my teaching tools because I've just gone and put them away. Hang on a minute, because I've got to stop the pelvis.
So I've got my pen here, and Heather's just popping out. She's got an amazing little acupuncture clinic in Brisbane, and she also travels around the world teaching, and she also every summer goes to New Zealand and does retreats and and teaches people there, and she's just amazing. So hang on, let me pause this.
Hang on, I'm back.
Awesome.
I've got a few more friends and relations here too, actually. Okay, so because I was a Navago self-care teacher, and there were only 3 of us here, and there's only 1 here now presently, I've resigned. I'm doing my own thing. I've got all these amazing things. Now this here is your pelvis.
Yeah.
And isn't that great?
Yeah.
It gets a bit grubby, you wash it. It's just lovely, like clothes. So here we have the sacrum.
Yeah.
And here we have the tailbone. Yeah. Now, unknown to me, that was going to make a difference because nobody talks about the baby gate. So I've decided this is the baby gate, and you know, you can't push through something that's locked. Doesn't work. Gosh, anyway, unbeknownst to me, all of that work undoes it. So when I went off and did the Avago stuff, which is, sorry, I've got a little flying thing around here, the Mayaways, which is what they were doing in Belize, which is Central America, and you've got Rebozo, and here's a Rebozo, and I've got a Faja. So we'll get to all of this, traditional ways that women used to sort out other women, okay?
Yes.
So having this here means that, in my case, I'd broken it after, when I was 12, and so that was going to make it hard to birth from, and I'd actually broken my sacrum a couple of times as well. Now I just kept on adding to that. You fall over. We've, little known fact, I don't know if anybody's brought it up, we've got a hinge on our sacrum.
Me too.
Yeah, and it starts solidifying or calcifying at 27. So before then, it's easier to birth. Right. So you need to open the baby gate, don't you? So there's magnesium being sprayed on all the time. So here we have, when you are pregnant, there's relaxin, so that's going to open a bit. But if you've got significant problems here, which some of us have, bullshit, you're not going to have a baby that way. It's not going to work. No. And you need to sort that out. Now, anybody with a twisted pelvis or iliosacral joint dysfunction and pubic symphysis, you need to get to somebody who, like me, has looked into it more than, okay? It's not a matter of putting needles in. Yes, Moxa may help. Everything I've got on opening the baby gate will. And it actually needs to be done at home. So going off and doing the Webster technique, yeah, look, 20 years ago, that might have been all you needed to do, not now. So here I am back to my little tool here. So in labour, for example, if he's pressing in really hard into here, it actually doesn't hurt as much. It's just a great tool because I hate the bony one. And if he's pressing like crazy into there, same, it's not exactly counter pressure. You're actually allowing the blood flow into here more than it otherwise would be. Now, the thing about the uterus, just while I'm on the job, because you can't shut me up patently when I get going.
No,
look,
you can't.
Here's the normal sized uterus.
Yeah.
And here is the one that we bleed with. It's twice the weight and twice the size. And you pick it up and you go, oh, exactly. So when you've got the uterus in the womb, I'll call her, in the right position, looks like that. Not all over the shop. And she can wander everywhere. Of course, when she's bigger, there's less space, but again, not all over the place. And of course, when we're pregnant, it
just goes like that.
It's up like that. But if she started if she started in the wrong position because the ligaments weren't right, then it's going to stay like that. And then you've got this idiot business called, oh, I've got ligament pain. Like, oh, yeah, well, drink more water. I hope you haven't seen you drink any since I've been doing
I've actually got homemade kombucha. It's water.
We need to be drinking a lot of water.
Yeah.
In addition to that, normally I've got my props here. I've got a roll-on magnesium gel for when people find it too prickly. And you can hear about all that later. I'll just write that also.
I had such terrible pubic symphysis during my pregnancies. I still get it actually every time. Like I seem to get a relaxin boost every time I bleed. So I always think,
hey,
I needed to see you when I was pregnant that first time. Unfortunately, I didn't hear about Heather until after the baby, and my doula introduced us, and thank God that happened.
Okay, so this is the same whether you're pregnant or not. So you go pubic symphysis pain. So you download this, because if you do that download, you get all the ebooks at the same time, and they're massive, which is the hyperemesis and all the rest of that. So this goes through. I'm just looking for pregnancy pubic pain. It's the same whether you're pregnant or not.
Yeah.
And because I work with a bunch of women in New Zealand who have to have at least 10, if not 12 children each, they're not allowed contraception, and it's a religious sect. So one woman who was only on a 6th baby, and she was crippled with us. And so what I did was I know. So I got her to sit forward like this, because everybody's got to sit forward. And I was doing the stuck liver chi massage, which is in all of the stuff here, while I was waiting for the moxa, which was on the slices of ginger outside. And I brought that in, and I did that up her back because we can't use moxa. And anyway, long story short, she jumped off that thing, and her midwife says, "What about your pain?" She said, "I don't have any." And she leapt up onto the bed to get me doing the next thing. And I thought, that's the point. It's all fixable, and you've got a whole bunch of people who are managing rather than fixing. Now, I'm not supposed to use that word fix, but quite frankly, I'm no longer part of APRA, so that means I'm not allowed to call myself an acupuncturist, the person who wrote the courses in 1981 in Brisbane, the person who goes around the world and at international seminars telling everybody how to do it better, but legally I'm not allowed to call myself an acupuncturist. Yeah. So I'm an acupuncture consultant. Right. To those who are doing it, but I'm also doing it still. Anyway, so I do what I do because I'm thinking differently.
Yeah. And it's amazing when you do see videos of births and the baby comes down and the bottom of that pelvis, like the tailbone, it just pops out as the baby's body comes through. And it's just incredible just to think that the tailbone can kind of like just hinge out like that.
Well, it does if it can, and it doesn't when it can't, and you've got a stuck baby.
Yes.
So that's what product placement that is about, because you have to actually get dad, who's not going to get scared of the smell. He's not going to get scared he's going to damage anything. If he wants this to go the way that she needs it to go, and they need to be, so they're not going mad and doing all this supply line and all of the rest of the stuff that happens, she has to be looked after. So I've got what to do so you don't bleed out. I've got what to do all in there. Like, look, mate, this is your toolbox. Use it. You've got hands. And if you do this with the moxa stick and all the rest of I suggest you do beforehand, afterwards, she's going to go to him first because he knows what to do.
Now, look, I had a hemorrhage with my second baby and I actually did bleed a lot. But of course, breastfeeding went fine. But, you know, I didn't.
Got the answer.
How do mums prepare for, like, you know, if they don't need blood, what do they do?
Got the answer.
Heather's always got the answer, even before you finish the question.
Now, look, if you imagine that's your toes.
Yeah.
Right. And so here is, I'm doing it wrong. Don't look at that. You've got it wrong. If you imagine this is your big toe, this is your big toe. You want to be using your thumbnail and gouge into the point at the bottom of it's called spleen 1, SP1. Now that is on your toe. It's not on your hand, it's on your toe.
Okay.
I know that has saved at least 2 women's uteruses when they were getting wheeled off. It is, and so I've got another site called Fingertip Rescues because I'm pissed off with everybody.
So that's actually how you stop potentially. Obviously, always, you know, consult who you're meant to be consulting, and this isn't medical advice, but in terms like that is something that potentially.
There you are. It's happening right now.
Yes.
You're in the room. They're doing all the stuff they're doing. You just quietly go down there with your thumbnail and you stop it.
That's incredible, because I tell you what, whatever they injected me with to stop that hemorrhage, I think that was worse than the hemorrhage. I felt like I was hit by a truck. I'd never had anything like it. It was, oh my God, it was incredible. But yeah, like, so, but how does, like, so you've done that, you've stopped the hemorrhage potentially, but you know, how do you you've bled, like, how do you get that blood energy back? So, like, you're breastfeeding baby and you don't get sick and you don't get tired, you know?
Short answer is you eat the placenta. And it's raw if you need to. And I had one midwife who just kept on cutting up and handing it at home, kept on handing it to the woman, and she'd lost over 2 litres. And she'd never seen anybody bounce back the way that she had. But look, she was an acupuncturist. She had a mess of a problem. She had really bad hyperemesis. She came to me with a little wee gut and stick thin. I fixed that with Chinese herbs and telling her what to do. And he was doing this sort of stuff. But still, because she had that sort of constitution, if you like, this is what happened. And she was fine. So you actually need midwives to be able to do what they know they need to do. And there's another story. We're not going there. And so when people are encapsulating placentas, I think, what the hell do you think you're doing? And here's me appearing to have opinions again. Cows don't do that. They eat it.
They do.
Okay, now this I know is the opposite to lotus birth, and I really see the point of lotus birth. But if we're going to do something with a placenta, sending it off and getting it processed isn't it. We can do a better job with Chinese herbs. We can do a better job with going off and seeing somebody that I've trained or somebody who knows what they're doing to actually do a better job with that. What you need to do at the time is being as a mammal. And this is what a mammal does. So getting back to how do we prevent having a hemorrhage? Well, you're in a better state of health to go into the pregnancy. So, you know, you have pain, that means you've got a problem. And you actually need to not read these idiot books that say, what to expect when expecting, and it will all get better when you've had the baby. Well, what about the baby? The baby's having a hell of a ride because there's not enough ingredients in there. And this is me going, every problem, it doesn't matter what condition you're going to come in with, ingredients and circulation. So
right, actually,
you imagine you're cooking, you imagine you're, I don't know, doing a different chocolate cake. Well, to start with, you've got to have something brown in the cupboard, don't you? Whether it's carob or cacao or chocolate, something has got to be brown in the cupboard. Otherwise, it isn't a chocolate cake. So we're going and we're looking at the recipe book. See, this is a recipe for better babies. And here we've got the ingredients you need, and you haven't got this thing that they, I don't know, chestnut flour or something. And if you're going to do that recipe, you've got to go and get that thing, and good quality and in the right amount. And then you've got the method. We'll call that circulation. If it says butter and sugar and you go, oh, I know what to do there, I'm going to melt it instead of creaming it, it's not going to be the same thing.
No.
And this is what's going on with everything. And we've got, excuse me, the lads who haven't bled or bred or birthed or breastfed telling us what we can and can't say to women. Hello? So when you go back to the hemorrhage problem that they have in other countries, they only have that because they're going to bloody hospitals. They're fine if they're living according to the way they always did, because as was in Belize, they knew what to do. And there's a book called, you all need to go and buy it, called Fireheart.
Fireheart, the book.
Yeah,
right.
I will send you I'll send you a link by Lulu Press or something. LU, get 5 of them. It'll cost you $100. Send it out to everybody. That is the most amazing story. She became a midwife from the time she was 13, had never had a drop of formal education. She'd attended several thousand births, never lost a mother. Of course she bloody didn't. They were big, strong women who were busily in the forest, and they were doing everything with the plants, and they knew what to do. So when she was going to a birth, she always had the herbs to put on the stove, and red rose. Anyway, the whole thing was all there ready. So once the baby was born, there we go. If you look like you're bleeding, you take this and it instantly stops like that. So what are we doing? We're going, oh, we need more research. And I'll go, you do not. You need to go and ask, well, you do, but not in the way you think. You need to go and ask the people who know, which are not the men who've done medical degrees, generally speaking. It's the women who have got no voice. It's the midwives who have left because they are so broken, and the ones who've been put in jail. All of that, because they are a threat and a danger, because we don't actually need them. And people go, oh, and they go, yeah, I know, I had problems too. But that's because I didn't know what to do. Yeah. And I now do. And then we can come to another part, which is the golden month. Now, everybody needs this little book by Jenny Ellison, Caring for the World's Mothers After Childbirth. It is a beautiful little book. Now, she actually went to the same high school as I did, a year above me, in Christchurch, of all places. And, I'm here, and she's in Auckland. And she went, we didn't know each other from Adam, and she went off and did acupuncture, and so did I. And we're both in the postnatal. So there's this whole thing about postnatal doulaing. And I go, if you set her up so the village was around her, so the dad knew what to do, and everybody was doing what they should, you don't need one. But what's going on is we're playing at being robots and pretending we're men. And we need to be at home for 40 days, in, on, around the bed, not even getting out of our nightie. And if we were in confinement, and then we have a closing of the bones ceremony, which you would use with a rebozo.
Oh, wow. Is that what it's used for? Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at rebozo. This is the width of their loom. So this is me. I've now got another hat on, which is the Maya healing hat. And every culture did what they had to do. And that's when we start on the steaming. Okay, so here we have a rebozo, which is the width of it. And I haven't got my beautiful rainbow one here. I've got my purple one. Now, it's what they would wrap the baby in. It would also what they would be doing to do that flour sifting thing you can look at. It's also the way to close you up at the end as like you're now out of your confinement time, and now just like you had a blessing way, now you need a blessing into the world. Wow. I don't know why nobody's thought of doing that, because that's really important. And at the same time, you'd be on the steamer all through that time. I mean, you'd be doing women's business, and it's not written down, because why would you tell people? this is what the mothers told their daughters.
Yeah, I think that if women today thought before they got pregnant, well, I have 40 days after birth, just to be in confinement and be taken care of, the answer 99% of us is probably going to be saying no. And if we knew how essential that was and whether we were still willing to get pregnant despite that, I think the answer would also be no. So, that's something, a consciousness that's got to change about the priorities around mothers as they give birth and how we want to prioritize them and look after them afterwards and make that possible. You brought up vaginal steaming. What is that? How do we do it? Oh my God, this whole new world opening up.
Yeah, I'm full of it, you could say. It's because what I'm trying to do is go around the world and find information that nobody has access to. So the first time I had a steam was in 2012. I was a foreign expert in Korea. Okay, so I was invited to do a 2-hour presentation at an international thing. And as a thank you, they took we Western women to this beauty spa place at this World Herbal Expo, and they plonked me on this damn thing, and they didn't speak English, so they didn't tell me what was going on. Now, I had a vague idea, okay? So I had a vague idea, and I can show, send you also the links of me on the steamer, and it was beautiful, and it got too hot, and I didn't know what the hell was going on, so I kept on putting my bum up because I didn't know what to do, So I was wearing this thing. She said, take your clothes off, put this on, and so I'm wearing the Korean national dress, which is a lemon embroidered band, and then it's got a purple, and it's rubberized. And then they put you in a little sarong as well, so that's washable, and you sit on that. So in my steaming room, which is where we currently are, we have...
Yes. Heather's steaming room. Can we, I don't think, yes, that's the steaming room. Where's the steamer? Do you want to show us the steamer? There, that's the thing there on that little chair that, yeah, back there. Yes, yep, got it there, got it. Up a little bit, yeah, got it. That's what a vaginal steamer looks like, everyone. Oh, Heather, your microphone's gone off, honey. It's gone off.
Okay, in here we've got a little, if you can see that, a little stool, which then puts it up at the right height, and that is a slow cooker. That is a 3 litre or 3.5, but you're better off with a 3 litre slow cooker. And then that is on my very expensive, you don't need to get one that expensive. Instead, I've got here we go again, and I'll send you the page on that. And if you then flip up, if you flip that up, then you've got something that you can actually sit on. And then you've got the steamer under that. So what is that doing, you might ask? Well, it's not a yawning steam. It's an anything steam because we've got 3 holes. And then, and so it's actually going to sort out everybody's gut as well. It's going to sort out your little old lady problems with sex. I've got to say, sex is a lot easier when you're luscious down there. If you've been raped, same again. If anything that's happened to you untoward, that's the answer. Now, why are we not? We actually don't look as wrinkled when we come off it. I mean, just about anything is fixed by steaming, including men's prostate cancer. It really doesn't matter. Obviously, we're going to put a towel over there so his bits aren't going to get cooked. But he's got an anus, and his uterus, just going back to my bits and pieces here, his uterus, here's another piece of information I didn't know. Hey, we're not differentiated as a boy or a girl until about 8 or 9 weeks along. And so his uterus became a prostate gland, which is there. But if it's going to swell up to be the size of an orange or a grapefruit, he's going to be doing no peeing. Because, and anyway, so there's all sorts of things that could be done. On that, his ovaries became testicles and dropped. His clitoris became a penis. So this whole thing has been written from the men's point of view. You know, we came from them. Actually, no, you're wrong. It's the other way around. Your default setting as a mammal is female.
Yes, yes.
So that means that they've got the bits that are going to feel much better. And I've had men on the steamer and they've looked 20 years younger when they get off because their gut no longer is a problem. And so I don't know what the hell we think we're doing, not allowing women to rule the world, because we know, because we use kitchens, we use sewing machines, and we use gardening. We tend everything, okay? And if we go back far enough, I had a woman in here and she was from Scotland and she said, oh, my grandmother used to have me sitting on this when I couldn't poo when I was a little girl.
Oh.
So we burned the witches. That was very not clever.
I'm guessing hemorrhoids. I mean, hemorrhoids are a huge problem for mums post-pregnancy and during pregnancy. Is it going to be helping with those?
Well, the problem comes back to ingredients and circulation again. They need to find a male abdominal practitioner who might be able to help. That, you know, like I know how to do this, but that's because I've ended up with the gentling way. We need to not go to the medical practitioners when we've got these problems, unless we need the roadside assistant because we're totally broken down. But before that, where was our manual? I've gone and put it over there, so I'd normally be waving dear old what dads can do again. You've got things falling down, okay? So if you've got things, oh, look at that, and I open to how a well body works and how it breaks down. You put cold anywhere near yourself. Do you remember the old wives' tale? Don't sit on the cold concrete, you'll get piles. All of the old wives' tales actually were correct.
Oh,
and
wow.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Look, now I've got the grey hair and now I'm nearly 65. I can sound a little bit more cranky. And I don't think anybody's going to have anything to say because I've got facts at my disposal after 40 years of doing this more than. I go, well, actually, I can tell you how that happens if you're interested. And yes, I know what it looks like over there, but how did it get set up? It got set up like this. You had a weakness in your body and look, here we are. And I'm going to tell you a very brief story because this is pertinent, okay? A woman came to see me because she had hemorrhoids. And she hadn't done what I suggested, which is come and see me every month to keep her on the straight and narrow. She obviously thought I was, I don't know, spinning a yarn or something. And so she came in to start with because she had a sore back and then she disappeared. And she came back with her hemorrhoid. And, you know, because I do that point at the base of the spine, I had her lying on the side and yep, it was about this big and glistening and purple. And I thought, this is in the 90s. And I'm going, this is not when people got their babies cut out. And I'm going, yeah, well, I've had 4 kids. All that's going to happen is you're going to get more and more weight on this. I don't know about this. And because she was in the area where all of the really well-heeled mothers were, which is where my clinic was, I suggested at the end of the session she might like to go and talk to her obstetrician because I thought probably this was grounds for having a C-section because I wouldn't have wanted to have pushed a baby through that, see? Anyway, I spent some time, as I do, trying to explain to her why this might have happened, and she had no idea. And I said, look, the body just doesn't do this. Something has triggered it. So I leave needles in, I go into the next room, I come back, and she has had this big think, and they'd done a whole lot of work in the yard, and 6.5 yards, and 6.5 hours in the garden. I thought, I suppose that might be it. I always think there must be 3 things going wrong. It just doesn't have one thing happening. And I thought, well, excuse me, I suppose if she's weak and she's done a whole lot of work and there's too much of it, but still, anyway, I natter again, tell her how you get hemorrhoids. I come back again and she says, and then we jumped into the really cold swimming pool. And I'm thinking, there we go. So then I explained to her how she's to not be sitting on the cold loo seat because it was September and up here the water would have been really cold.
Yes. Yeah.
Haven't finished. So then I told her that she needed still to go to the you know, the obstetrician guy. And so she did, and he'd never seen anything like it. So he sent her off to the colorectal guy, and you'll never guess what he said.
What did he say?
Just guess. What would he say?
I don't know. I don't know what they say.
Pack it in ice.
Oh no! I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, so she did.
Hey, we've got 5 more minutes together.
I'm just going to finish this story. So she rang me up the next day really upset because now she had that many hemorrhoids.
Oh no.
Oh yes. So when we're looking at hemorrhoids, we actually have to stop playing the medical game because they have no idea. And we have to go back to what the old wives would have said. Nothing cold, nothing sweet, nothing too raw. You know, the stuff that's all in all of these ebooks I'm suggesting people go and get because I can't keep yabbering. You can't keep paying money to go to people. I've done the resources. So the people who you're going to actually need to buy this because they don't know it either. So I heard we've got 5 minutes left. So
well, we do. Can you tell us, Heather, like how do people work with you? How do people like find you and everything like that? Like
normally they come to me because somebody said. because I've taken all my advertising down because I'm trying to write these courses internationally because I'm nearly 65 and I need to go home to New Zealand, okay? So I'm sitting here with an immensely wonderful clinic here in the middle of Brisbane, and I'm trying to, I thought I'd turned that off, sorry.
Don't worry about it, don't worry.
I thought what I was going to do was train other people up to do this, and I've got a brilliant woman up in Cairns. You know, like, that's not helpful. I'm training them up down northern New South Wales, and you know, like, I'm trying to get out there, and I'm gradually. So if they want to come and see me, hurry up, because I'm usually in New Zealand, and normally I only see people in intensives, because by the time they've seen me and they've had how many dead babies? Seriously. You know, like, seriously, I'm a very hard cases person. Or they've been told, like the women in Glorivale, that whatever they've been told. I'm the one that goes in there when nobody else can help. So I've gone and trained their midwives and health workers there in the work that I've done, which is way past anything anybody else is doing here. And I'm not saying that from ego. I'm trying to train people up, because they need to open the baby gate. They need to understand the amount of distraught, distressed women who are killing themselves, who are on antidepressants, who will never have another baby, who cannot deal with the whole pregnancy thing. Now, somebody's got to help them through. Now, that would be me, and I'm trying to train up the others, and it takes a while, because if they feel like doing this, guess what? They've had their own catastrophes. Yeah. And they've got their own children, and we're drawn to this work because, like you, because we can't not do it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now you travel around the world, don't you? And you teach.
I teach. Yeah, I teach mainly acupuncturists, but I teach anybody, and I do that because I can't spread myself around, and it's inappropriate for me to be still doing this at the coalface. And yes, you can come and see me, but I'm not going to want to see you once. Because it's ridiculous, you know, particularly healing after C-section, which we've not even started with.
No, we need to have another conversation about breech, VBAC, healing after cesarean. That's a whole other hour that we need to do.
Yes, I know. Before we go anywhere, anybody can make a faha, and they can bind themselves together. And I've got the footage of me doing it and how to do it. So then you're held together, and your prolapses and everything else are better. It is not a physio belt. It is not anything else that goes on. And on that, it's upstairs, bother. I'm going to give you another link to a Unina, and that is how to sort out the diastasis after you've had the baby and it holds you in. So instead of doing the belly binding, you can just get this thing, and you need to do it immediately, and then you use the faha afterwards. It's brilliant. And that also is on the Opening the Baby Gate site. You can get it from there, actually, if you go and look up healing after birth. Like, I've just done a beginning site. It's not usually, and it's not looking enormous like most of mine. It's sort of fairly modern and fairly, look, there's that. But go and buy the kit, because that then allows you to answer most of these questions yourself.
Yep. So the kit, the name of the kit is, and the website it's on. Do you want to just tell us what the name of the kit is and what website it's on?
Yeah, if you go to openingthebabygate.com, and then you look at resources, and you've got 3 options. And one option is only the e-version of what dads can do, and the charts. And you know, like, that's enough. But if you want all of the ebooks, which is hyperemesis and all of the pain and every other damn thing that goes on, then you've got, I think, 12 different ebooks as part of that, and that's 147 American. The other one's 97, I think, American. Or you can get the kit. Now, wouldn't it have been sensible? I could have come here and shown you the Welcome Baby Kit, because the Welcome Baby Kit is what you send to people when you've got $400 and you want them to have the very best, and it's got they've got everything that they need to have, as well as the courses and the books and the resources.
All right, so what we're going to do, everyone, is we're going to schedule another time with Heather. We're going to talk about the kit. We're going to talk about healing after cesarean. We're going to talk about VBACs and breech and everything really juicy and exciting that Heather loves to help with the really hard stuff. So thank you for your time, Heather, and thank you everyone for watching the webinars. We'll put Heather's links somewhere here that you can see, and you can hopefully buy her kit and find out, like, read everything about what you
can do to help yourself. What you can do to help yourself. That's the important part here.
Yes. Yes.
And thank you for doing this.
A powerful, powerful message. So thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.